Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back to another installment of the Stories of the Prophet series. Today we're going to be talking about Ibrahim alayhi salam. This is one of my favorite stories in the Quran. So this begins with ayah number 51. Verse number 51 from Surah 21, Surah Anbiya. Allah tells us that we gave Ibrahim alayhi salam the, intelligence and maturity. So when Ibrahim alayhi salam became, a mature young man, he tells his father and his people, what are these statues, these sculptures that you worship, that you offer so much devotion and dedication to? They say, hey, listen, youngin, not too fast. We found our forefathers worshipping these idols, okay? Now you be quiet and you back off. He goes, that doesn't change anything. That just means that you, just like your forefathers before you, are in serious grave error. So they respond back, do you actually have something solid, concrete to share with us? Or are you just messing around with us here? Because we don't have time for games. So Ibrahim a.s. says to them, rather, your Lord, your master, your creator, Allah is the Lord and the master, the creator of the heavens and the earth, the one who gave them existence out of nothing. He created them from nothing. And he goes on to tell them, when you guys aren't around, I'll teach you a lesson through your own idols. I'll show you what's right and what's wrong. So the Quran tells us that they go out for some festival, and Ibrahim a.s. stays back, and he goes in there and he destroys all the idols. He smashes them to bits and pieces, except for the biggest idol amongst all of them. He leaves that idol intact. So when they get back, they said, whoever did this to our idols is a really terrible person. They said that, we remember a young man, he's always talking about our idols, and I think his name is Ibrahim. Go and bring him in front of everybody so we can make a lesson, an example out of him, and everybody finds out what happens when you mess with our idols. So when Ibrahim a.s. is brought to them, young man, they said, are you the one who did this with our idols, O Ibrahim? So Ibrahim a.s. says, why couldn't I have the biggest idol amongst them have done this? I mean, just let's consider the circumstances. Crime scene investigation, CSI, alright? All the idols are smashed up into bits and pieces. You got a big old idol still standing there. He's like, well, why don't you ask the big guy? And they really thought that, what if we're wrong here? فَرَجَعُوا إِلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ. The Quran's expression of this is so powerful. The Quran says that they retreated back to their souls. They went back deep down and looked inside of themselves. They thought to themselves, what do you say to that? ثُمَّ نُكِسُوا عَلَىٰ رُؤُوسِهِمْ. But then their own stubbornness and foolishness got the best of them. And then they came right back at Ibrahim. They said, you know that they don't speak. Why would you say that? Why are you trying to mess with us? We told you we don't got time for your games. He says, so what you're trying to tell me, let me put everything together. Let's establish the facts here. You're trying to tell me you worship other than Allah something that cannot benefit you in the least bit, nor could it ever harm you? أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Don't you think? I mean, can't you just figure that much out? This is common sense. So they said, burn him in a fire and help your gods, your idols. So now this is where we'll kind of switch over to the Prophet ﷺ tells us what happens now. They built such a huge fire that they themselves couldn't even get close to it. So then they're trying to figure out, how do you throw him into the fire, inside the fire? So then they have to build a catapult. And they put him inside the catapult, and they tie up his arms and his legs, and they put him inside of the catapult, ready to launch him off. And as soon as they place him inside, Ibrahim a.s. does the only thing he can do. He says, Hasbi Allah. Allah is all I need. Wa ni'mal wakeel, and He is the best of caretakers. And Jibreel alayhi salam, the great angel Gabriel, comes to Ibrahim alayhi salam, and he says, Ya Ibrahim, O Abraham, O friend of God, is there anything that you need? Is there anything I can do for you? And Ibrahim alayhi salam gives such a powerful response at that moment. He says, do I need anything from you? No, I'm good. I don't need anything. Hasbi Allah. I have Allah. I have Allah. And Ibrahim a.s. is coming down into the fire, falling into the fire. And right before he falls into the fire, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the next ayah, He tells us, Allah said, He spoke directly to the fire, Ya nar, O fire, be cool and be peaceful and safe upon my beloved friend Abraham, my friend Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam lands in the fire. And the narration says, not a single hair on his head or on his body was burned. But it was only for Ibrahim. What did burn? The ropes that were restraining his wrists and his ankles, those ropes burned up. And Ibrahim alayhi salam is safe, peaceful, calm, sitting inside of that fire, unharmed, untouched inside of that fire. That is a powerful story in and of itself, but the lesson, the take-home lesson, normally you would think help and aid would come by extinguishing the fire. Allah would send down the rain to extinguish the fire, or something else, or Allah would send a flood and it would come and put out the fire. Ibrahim a.s. did not turn to the creation of Allah to get to Allah. He turned directly to Allah. I directly put my faith and my trust in Allah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly helped Ibrahim a.s. No rain, no water, no nothing. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala left the fire intact, but just made it change its nature. Commanded it change and become cool and peaceful. When we put our faith and trust in Allah, Allah will make the impossible possible for us. وَرَزَقَهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبْ. Allah will provide ways and solutions for us from where we couldn't even imagine.